In this video, we are trying to do a couple exercise regarding equation of a tangent line. So in the first problem, I gave you a function and then I gave you a point. We treat this point as a comma f of a, and then I need to find another point, so that is x comma f of x. Why do we have to do this? Because we have a point, right, at a f of a, and then we need another point x f of x, so we need 2 points on the curve of this function, and then we connect them to build a secant line. And then we minimize the distance between these 2 points to find the slope of the tangent line. Okay, this secant line has a slope. How do you find the slope? The slope is m equals to limit as x approaches to 2. I will just start with the formula. So as x approaches to a, we have f of x minus f of a, x2 y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. And then this, we have a equals to 2, right? So you have limit as x approaches to 2, and then you have the y value, which is the given function, subtract f of a, right? So when a is equals to 2, what do we have? We have 4 times 2 minus 3 times 2 squared. That is equal to negative 4. So minus negative 4, and then divided by x minus 2, and then you clean up the top, and then you factor the top. And then this one you have limit, always start with a limit a. So we have negative 3x squared plus 4x plus 4 divided by x minus 2. Oh, this is a 2. So look, when x is equals to 2, we have a trouble in the denominator. So you have to do everything you can to get rid of the x minus 2. So what you can do is you factor the top. So the top you factor, I assume everybody can do factor in a calculus class. So this one, the factor is negative 3x minus 2 times x minus 2, and then divided by x minus 2. What if you are unable to cancel the x minus 2 in the denominator? That means you are making a mistake. You have to go back to find out what the mistake is. So this, we are able to get rid of the x minus 2, and then we have limit as x approaches to 2, and then we have a negative 3x minus 2. You plug in a negative 2, negative 3 times negative 2, that is a 6. Actually, negative 3 times 2, so that is a negative 6. Negative 6 minus 2 is negative a. So what is negative a equal to? Negative a is the slope of the tangent line to a function f at this point. So function f is a point, right? It's a curve. No, it's a point. It's a curve. So we have a curve. At that point, the slope is equals to negative a. So we have a curve. At that point, oh, actually I have to pick another point because the slope is negative. So let's complete the curve first. So at this point, what is the slope? The slope is equals to negative a because we have this tangent line. The tangent line, what is the slope of the tangent line? Negative a. What is the slope of the curve at that point? The answer is negative a. Now, can you tell me the equation of the tangent line? The equation of the tangent line, what's the tangent line? The tangent line is a straight line. I have a point, I have a slope of a straight line. How do you find the equation of that straight line? So this, you have to recall one simple thing you learn in algebra that is called the point slope form. What is point slope form? Point slope form allows you to find the equation of a straight line using one point and one slope. That is y minus y1 equals to m times x minus x1. So y is just any y value, subtract y, which is negative 4, and then slope is negative 8. X is equals to 2. X is just equals to x, and then x1 is equals to negative 2. So you have y plus 4, right? So this is y equals to negative 8x, and then you plus 16 minus 4. So the equation of the tangent line is y is equals to negative ax plus 12. So what is this called? This is the equation of the tangent line at point 2 comma negative 4. So this is the equation of this straight line at this point. So that's how we do the math. All right, so let's take another look. Let's do one more problem. So the next problem, I will change color. So the next problem in part B, we have the function y is equals to a square root function, and then at point 1 comma 1. So this is a f of a. And then what is the slope of a secant line? So we have limit as x approaches to 1. We have y2 minus y1. The other point is x comma what? X comma the square root of x. So we have y2 minus y1 and then divided by x2 minus x1. So this, I cannot plug in the 1 right now. So do you see a square root in the numerator? So when you see a square root in the numerator, you have to use a conjugate. The conjugate is the square root of x plus 1. This is the square root of x plus 1. This is a minus, this is a plus. That's why I called it a conjugate. When you do the multiplication, you don't just multiply the negative 1 and the x. You are doing this just like when you open up two factors. So what is the result equal to? That equals to limit as x approaches to 1. We have root x times root x is x. And then plus 1 plus root x minus root x, they are cancelled. And then you have a minus 1. And then the denominator, do not open it up, just do x minus 1 times the square root of x plus 1. And then you are able to get rid of the x minus 1, right? And then you plug in a 1, so you have 1 divided by the square root of 1 plus 1. That equals to 1/2. This is the slope of the tangent line. So the slope of the tangent line, tangent to the function at 1 comma 1. So the next thing that you have to do is you have to find the equation of the tangent line. That is only a slope. I need the entire line. So to do the entire line, so let me move this problem down. To find the entire line, you have to use the point slope form. Y minus y1 equals to m times x minus x1. So a point is given, y minus 1 is equals to the slope times x minus x1. And then y is equals to 1/2 x minus 1/2 plus 1. So you end up with y equals to 1/2 x and then plus 1/2. This has a name. This is called equation of the tangent line to the function f at 1 comma 1. So we have a function. It's a parabola, right? So it's a parabola that looks like this, that starts at the origin at this 1 1. I can build a tangent line using this tangent line to estimate the slope of the curve. What is the equation of the tangent line? Right here. What is the slope of this tangent line? Right there. So 1/2, the slope of this straight line is 1/2. That tells me the slope of the curve at x equals to 1 is equals to 1/2. So that's how you do this problem. Let's take a look at another problem. So the next problem I have right here is find the slope of the tangent line to the curve, all right, at x equals to a. Okay, so in part A, they didn't give you what x equals to. They didn't give you a point this time. The previous problem, they gave you a point at 1 comma 1. This time, they didn't give you anything. So when the value is not given, how do you do it? and then I have to find the equation of the tangent line at those 2 points. So this is open parenthesis. This is a point, so that is a 1, 5, and then 2, 3. So let's go ahead to find the slope first at any point. So we have y equals to that. So I am going to, in part A, I am going to start with this. So the slope is equal to the limit as h goes to 0. We have f of a plus h minus f of a divided by h. All right. So what is a plus h? A plus h is you have to plug in a plus h to the function. Okay, let's do it. M is equals to limit as h goes to 0. So look at the given function or given equation. Replace the x with a plus h. So this becomes 3 plus 4 times a plus h squared, no longer x, minus 2 times a plus h to the 3rd power. So that completes the a plus h. And then minus f of a. F of a, you just copy the function one more time, except you change the x to a. So that will be 3 plus 4a squared minus 2a to the 3rd. And then you take everything divided by h. Okay, so how do you expand a plus h squared? A plus h squared, that is not a squared plus h squared, right? So that is a plus h times a plus h, that is equals to a squared plus 2ah plus h squared. Okay, so that is for the square. What about the 3rd power? Please don't tell me that equals to a to the 3rd plus h to the 3rd. If you say that, I don't think you belong to a calculus class. So let me do this in another color. When you expand a higher power, in this case, you try using a Pascal triangle. So let me recall what a Pascal triangle is. So Pascal triangle. The top of a Pascal triangle is 1, the next line is 1, 1, and then each line always starts with a 1, and then this number is the sum of 1 and 1. 1 plus 1 is equals to 2, and each line ends with a 1. The next line we start with a 1, 1 plus 2 is equals to 2, 2 plus 1 is equals, 1 plus 2 is equals to 3, 2 plus 1 is equals to 3, and then you have a 1 at the end. And then each line you always start with a 1, 1 plus 3, 3 plus 3, 3 plus 1, and then 1. And then the next line 1, 1 plus 4, 4 plus 10, 4 plus 6, 6 plus 4, and then 4 plus 1, and then 1. You can keep going, but you don't need that many lines because we have a 3rd power. So for a 3rd power right here, which line should I use? Don't count the first line. So this is how we count. We always start with this. We call this the 0th line. The first, the second, and the 3rd. So since we have a 3rd power, this is the line that we have to use. So what are the numbers for 1, 3, 3, 1? They are coefficients. So here is how we use it. So we start with, I'm going to stick with red. We start with 1, 3, 3, 1. All right, you have a and h, right? So here is how we do the a to the 3rd, a squared, a to the 1st, a to the 0, which is 1. And then h to the 3rd, h squared, h to the 1st, h 0. And then that is a plus, then you do plus, 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 plus. So overall, expand the a plus h to the 3rd, you have a to the 3rd plus 3a squared h plus 3ah squared, and then plus h to the 3rd. So that is how you expand the a plus h to the 3rd power. I know you want me to do what if I have an a minus h. So if you have an a minus h, you do a plus, minus, plus, minus. So you have a plus, minus, plus, minus. So you have an a to the 3rd minus 3a squared h plus 3ah squared minus h to the 3rd. So that's how you take care of the plus and the minus situation. Now, let's put everything in. So we go back to green. We have limit as h goes to 0. We have 3 plus, okay, 4 times that. Let's do this in one step. That is 4a squared plus ah plus 4h squared, and then minus 2, right? So you have a negative 2 right here. So that puts a negative 2 right in front of the whole thing. So you have a negative 2a to the third minus 6a squared h minus 6ah squared, and then minus 2h to the third. We are not done. We still have the square bracket. So the square bracket, that will be minus 3 minus 4a squared, and then minus 2a to the third. And then we have the whole thing divided by h. You should be able to do some cancellations right here. So let's do the cancellation. First, I can see that the 3 and the 3 got cancelled. And I can see a second power. So I can see a 4a squared and a minus 4a squared. All right, what else do you see? I see a third power and a third power. And then that's it. Now, before you go on, you move on to write the next line, look at the rest of the terms. You cannot simplify any one of them, right? But take a closer look. Each term has an h sticks to it, right? And I want to get rid of the h in the denominator. Therefore, I want you to factor out an h. So this is for the next step. So limit as h goes to 0. And then this, you factor out an h. So this is a plus 4h minus 6a squared minus 6ah minus 2h squared divided by h. Finally, you are able to get rid of the h in the denominator. When you do your work, you are unable to get rid of the h in the denominator. That means your work is a mistake. So first, you fully open up all the powers, and then you do some cancellation, and then you factor out an h, and then you cancel the h in the denominator. 4 steps. If you miss any one of them, you are making a big mistake. But in fact, if you make a mistake, you can't even proceed to this step if you make a mistake in anywhere. So once we get rid of the h in the denominator, we are safe to plug in h goes to 0. So when h goes to 0, every term with an h in it will just becomes a 0. So we end up with aa minus 6a squared. So this is f prime of a that is equals to aa minus 6a squared. This answer has a name. This is the slope of function f at, it should be at, when x is equals to a. When x is equals to a. So look at the function I gave you. It's a third-degree polynomial, right? So you expect to see a curve. So the curve is going up and down. That means the slope changes all the time. So when x equals to a, pick any point on the curve. So you have a curve, right? You graph the function. You see a curve in your graphing calculator. Pick any point. Can you describe the slope for me? The slope is aa minus 6a squared. How come the a is a? It's not an exact value. Well, you have to tell me what the x value is. So if you want x to be equal to 0, fine. You plug in a 0 to a to get your slope. If you want x to be equals to 10, fine. You plug in 10 into a, then you get your slope. If you want x be negative 3, okay, you plug in negative 3 to the function, then you get your slope. So when you see prime, you plug in a number to a prime, you only get a slope. You don't get a location of a point on the curve. You get the slope of the point. You don't get a location. How do you get a location? I want to plug in an x to get a y. Well, you have to plug in x to f of x. So when you plug in an x value into f of x, not f prime, you plug in x into f of x, you get a location. The location of a point on a curve. When you plug in an x value into a f prime, you get the slope of that point only. You don't see the location. So that's the difference between the given function and the f of prime. So in part B, they gave you 2 points, right? You don't need to go back up. I will just tell you what the point is. So the first point they gave you is 1, 5. Okay, this is a location at this point. I already know the location. I am interested in finding the slope of this location. So f prime of x equals to 1, that is equals to a times 1 minus 6 times 1 square, that is equals to 2, right? This is my slope. And then at this point, can you build a tangent line for me? This is the slope of the tangent line. Can you build the equation for me? I need to see the equation of the line so I can graph the equation. Then you do y minus y1 equals to m times x minus x1. So you have y minus 5 equals to 2 times x minus 1. So you end up with y equals to 2x minus 2 plus 5 is 3. So this is a tangent line. At this point, I know this is the slope. If you want the straight tangent line, then this is the equation of the tangent line. So if you look at the graph at 1, 5, at 1, 5, where is 1, 5? Let's say that should be a 1 because the other point is 2, right? So when x is equals to 1, I better use another color. So when x is equals to 1, x is equals to 1, y is equals to 5, we have a point. So do you see a curve? The curve is the given function. What about this straight line? This straight line is y equals to 2x plus 3. And then what is the slope of this point? The slope of this point is positive 2. The line is going up, so positive 2 makes sense. What about the other point? 2, 3. So 2, 3. So we have f prime of 2 when x is equals to 2, 8 times 2 minus 6 times 2 square. What is that equal to? That is equals to 16 minus 24. That equals to negative 8, right? So this is my slope. And then y minus y1 equals to slope times x minus x1. So you have y equals to negative x plus 16 plus 3, so that is y equals to negative 8x plus 19. At 2, 3, so this is a 2, 3, x is equals to 2, y is equals to 3. We have a tangent line, so this tangent line is negative 8x plus 19, tangent line. What is the slope at this point? The slope at that point is negative 8. That makes sense. The line is going downhill, so negative slope makes sense to me. So that will be all in this video. In the next video, I will show you a velocity problem.